So I'll be talking about robots, humans, and the workplace. Now, over the next 30 years, an extra 2.5 billion people are going to move to our cities. So that means that our cities are going to house 6 billion people in total. That's a big change over the next 30 years. It's going to change the way we live, the way we work. Our vision is to reimagine the built environment so that people experience a better tomorrow. Because during this time, actually very little of the space around us will be demolished and rebuilt. In fact, only 1 in 5 buildings that you see out there today in the next 30 years will be demolished. So we have to repurpose a lot of what is already here. Now, at the same time, we are experiencing the 4th industrial revolution. Yes, the emergence of machine learning, artificial intelligence, robots, and this is happening very quickly. In fact, some commentators say it's happening quicker than the growth of the internet. So we went out to the World Economic Forum in Davos to speak to business leaders and understand, how do you think this will affect our workplaces, the places where we do our work? And the first thing, of course, to talk about is jobs. Jobs, according to the World Economic Forum, will disappear. They think 75 million jobs are already at risk. But jobs will also be created. Here's some sort of facts and figures about the roles that might be made redundant. Now, a lot of them are process or repetitive jobs. But you'll notice there's a lot more new roles as well. In fact, I would say that in some parts of the world, whole new business communities are being created. Has anyone been out to India, to Bangalore or Gurgaon? Yeah, a few people? Well, you will see whole districts being created around artificial intelligence specialists, some real skills in there. However, we are all leaders, and we all have to make decisions about the future. And one of the critical decisions that we're going to have to make as leaders is, what do we do about this? We are always being challenged on optimizing our business, about driving performance, driving margin. Well, do we do it at the expense of all these people? Do we make them redundant? Or do we reskill them, upskill them, create an environment of relearning? And they're key choices that we're going to have to make as leaders to retain the fabric, the DNA, and the culture of our businesses, whilst also moving on to this new generation of working. This is the first critical thing. The second thing is, what will it do to the place we work? If you look around the place you work and look and see the number of people that are doing repetitive tasks, does that mean that they're all going to go? And more importantly, when artificial intelligence really enters our lives, and let's face it, we're probably speaking to robots in our personal lives far more than we think we are, when we're banking, when we're shopping. But when it enters our workplace in terms of the Internet of Things, all the devices, everything that is happening, well, our workplaces are going to feel very, very different. In fact, we tried to visualize this. So we made a little movie about what we think the workplace will be like once all this machine learning gets embedded. So let's play it out.
Morning, Jill.
Good morning, Amy. Where would you like to work today?
The office. What's the weather like today?
The temperature is 18 degrees with a 57% chance of rain. Are you ready to start your day?
Give me 10 minutes.
Okay. How would you like to get there?
I'll walk.
Do you want to ride?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. Careful, Amy. Obstacle ahead. Nearly there. Good time, Amy.
Good morning, Amy. Welcome to JLL. You have one message from William Douglas.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Your first meeting is at 10:30. Please proceed to the elevators. Have a good day.
And you.
Lisa is in today. Lunch?
Good for me.
Invite sent. Have you seen the latest report?
No.
Your coffee will be ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you.
Tip sent. This building uses sensors to make your day more productive. Need a desk?
Maybe later.
Sure. How's the temperature?
It's fine.
Ready to start your meeting with Eloise Dupont?
I am indeed.
I'll let her know.
Bonjour Amy, ça va?
Bonjour, Eloise. Hold on.
Auto-translating.
Vous avez vérifié le document que je vous ai envoyé?
Yeah, all looks great. Thanks very much. Au revoir.
Bonne journée, au revoir, merci.
Are you happy to share your building usage data today? Have a great evening, Amy.
Plan for route home?
Stop navigation.
Navigation off.
Send a message to Tom. Are we still okay for the meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock?
Message sent. Would you like to switch to personal mode?
Yes, please.
Personal mode. Work mode returns 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Confirm.
Have a nice evening, Amy. Enjoy the sunset.
Good night, Jill.
So, if you think that is all a bit crazy and way out there, every bit of that technology currently exists. The interesting thing is, in some cultures, it's advancing far more quicker than in others. And of course, the great thing about AI and machine learning is that you need people to interact with them. Otherwise, they're useless. But the thing that we like about that is that it's interactive, it's fun, but it still enables a lot of communication, a lot of inter-people experience. That is why we believe that the emergence of artificial intelligence is going to place a lot more emphasis back on the human experience, particularly in the workplace. In fact, it could be the catalyst to drive more people back to the workplace as they seek communities and human relations. Because let's face it, there are many things that machines cannot do and will never be able to do. So let's identify some of the human skills that have already been seen that machines cannot cope with, will struggle with, or are unlikely to ever provide a solution to. The first one is complex problem solving. I mean, this needs teams of people. And more importantly, it needs teams of people who are from very diverse backgrounds, very diverse cultures, genders, all sorts, because that's when you come up with the best solutions. Sensory perception, also emotional response, social response, all the things that are required to build relationships, to build trust, those networks in business which we constantly rely on. That's very much a human skill. And finally, creativity. Creativity is probably the most undervalued skill in business. And as we go forward, more and more creativity is going to be needed so that we can apply this machine learning and deliver really good results. because that's what we're here for at the end, is performance. So what we've tried to do at JLL is draw on this and expand our reach to a more diverse background. It is really, really important. We work in property, in real estate. This is a pretty traditional business. So as we move into a world dominated by technology where disruption is rife, we need to attract a new type of person. So I come on to this man. He's called Vinay, and we were pleasantly surprised, but also boosted by the fact that we managed to attract Vinay, who was responsible for developing Google Maps. And he's become our Chief Product Officer at JLL to specifically design some of those products that you saw in action there on that film. Because when people come to their workplace in the future, they are going to demand a human experience, but also a technology-enabled human experience. You see, the power has gone to the individual in the workplace. They have so much access to data that they can now make demands on their employer, which their employer gets surprised by, but shouldn't be. For example, do you know what the most common complaint is in the workplace? Anyone have a guess? Bad coffee? I'll come on to that. Coffee is very important. It's like the bloodline to happiness these days. So as you saw in that movie, we've got a coffee shop in our offices, and we don't even operate it. We rely on coffee experts to operate that. The most common complaint in the workplace is the temperature. Right? It's how hot or cold it is. I find this really surprising that in the 21st century, this is still the biggest complaint. But we work for a lot of the big employers around the world. Procter & Gamble, anyone here from Procter & Gamble? Or HSBC? We run all of their buildings around the world. And when I meet up with their CEOs, they say to me, first of all, Guy, please can you make sure you get the temperature right? Right? But it goes deeper than that. Now, people can monitor the air that they breathe, the quality of light that comes in through the window. And so employers are facing questions from their employees like, why have you taken us to an office location that's the most polluted part of the city? Well, 3 or 4 years ago, employers weren't really thinking about pollution in the same way they are today. You have graduates who, before they agree to take a job, insist on coming to see the workstation. I mean, there might be a lot of people complaining about the next generation, but actually that's quite a reasonable request. And so there are really clear examples of how people are creating a better employee proposition through creating a human experience at work. And creating a human experience actually is definitely about the physical, a dynamic, well-designed, thoughtful, unique physical proposition. But it's also about a mindset. And this is where leaders come in again. Because leaders, we have to build a better sense of purpose, sense of belonging, sense of community. We have to actually make memories for people now. And you can do that better in a better environment. So by creating the environment for it, you can not only tick the physical box, heat the temperature at the right level, actually give people the power to heat the temperature. There's an office that we manage in Bangalore where people have on their mobile phone complete power over their space. So it's a flexible working arrangement. When you arrive and you book into a desk, you sit at your desk, and immediately we have digital photo frames. All of your family photos pop up into the digital frames. The lighting goes to a preset lighting setting, and the heating goes to a preset heating setting. The only thing we haven't worked out is the chair. But chairs are not good for you anyway. So what I wanted to look at is some really practical examples of what businesses are doing to create physical spaces which actually encourage a really, really human experience. And I thought, well, we design and create workplaces. It would be remiss of me not to speak to you and put up some nice visuals of offices. So here we go. This is a great workplace. I really love this one. It is, I think, the longest desk that I've ever come across. It's called the Barbarian Group. They're in New York. How many of you are from not from Europe? Okay, so are you American or? So just for the I have to check because it depends whether I talk in meters or feet, right? But continental Europe, I think most people are from continental Europe. I'm going to stick to meters for the time being. This is a 2,000 square meter office, and 330 square meters of it is taken up with one desk. It comprises anywhere between 125 and 175 workstations. It's incredibly agile. What I love about it, it's fun. Right? We have to bring a bit of fun back into the workplace because if you use design in this way, then more people are likely to come here, spend time here, and honestly, they're probably going to be more productive. So it is a creative agency, Barbarian, so you would expect it, but it's a great use of design to create a more human experience. Google, probably the pioneers of workplace. Let's face it, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, not everyone went to Google because they wanted to work for a search engine. They went there because their offices were really cool. All right? They were dynamic, it was dressed down, it was very flexible. Now they've gone through various iterations, Google, and they're now trying to attract people back into the workplace. But I like this because it's very thoughtful. They're trying to encourage a diverse population. And they've specifically designed certain areas of their office to appeal to the visually impaired through colors, through textures, so that they can navigate the office better. Now, that's a really good story. Finally, Tencent. So Tencent are one of the biggest technology companies in the world, based in China. This is their office in Shenzhen. Actually, it's not a great photo of their office. Go on Google and just have a look at some of the images. Because in their headquarters, they've created 2 towers that go up. But across, there are 3 horizontal bridges. And what they wanted to do with these horizontal bridges was create something that really reflected their culture. Create a human experience. So they've got a bridge on the base level, that's their reception, and that's representative of their culture. They've got lots of offerings, lots of visuals of their people and about their culture. In the middle, and I'm pretty sure this is the middle section, so it's on the 21st floor, there is a bridge, which is the health link. And for this health link, they've created a full-size athletics track, a full-size basketball pitch, football, table tennis, mindfulness, yoga space, and then finally, on the top floor, on the 34th floor, they've got a rooftop, which is a dining area, cafes, and also an education area. They've created the Tencent University, they call it. So auditoriums for training, and they call this the knowledge link. So they've got the culture link, the health link, and the knowledge link. Now they're a huge organization, but they're making a real effort to create a human experience in what is a massive headquarters, probably with over 15,000 people in there. It's a much more human experience. So there's just a few examples of the things that employers are doing to create the physical space. But to finish off, I'll just have a slight call to action for all you leaders. Because creating the physical space is one thing. Then you have to create the environment, the culture, and the community that provides a human experience that will attract people but also retain people. And the first thing is jobs. What are you going to do about them? What will you do about the jobs that are made redundant by machine learning? You have a choice to make as leaders. And that choice is about relearning, upskilling, and also planning. It's unlikely that before 2025 we'll see any productivity increases through AI. So this is a long-term strategy. So first thing, think about jobs. Second thing is create that sense of purpose, create that belonging, that community, and focus on a human experience in the workplace. That will be critical to the success of businesses going forward. We are convinced that artificial intelligence will place more emphasis on human experience and encourage more people back into the workplace. Thank you.